day, everybody. This is Calxiyn here. If you guys enjoyed this video, you should subscribe for more RWBY videos. And if you guys want to see our RWBY reactions early, especially, you should become patrons on Patreon. But these videos are early as well. And today we are going to be talking about Cinder. Because something occurred to me while we were doing the analysis. Everyone thinks that Salem is the fairy godmother that, saved Cinder from her life. And it's possible. However, we do know that multiple characters have multiple fairy tale interpretations, and that they can simultaneously be both the good thing and the bad thing. Weiss is not only the, Princess Snow White, but in the beginning of Volume 1, she's also sort of the evil queen, right? She's a bit of an asshole, right? And so you have characters like that. So could it be possible that Salem is both the fairy godmother as well as the evil stepmother? Because looking at Emerald and Neo, I was like, well, when you think about it, Emerald and Neo are like Cinder's stepsisters, right? And so I think that's kind of interesting. But they're not the evil stepsisters, though. So that's why I'm like,
but the morally gray stepsisters don't sound as good.
I understand, right? Because a lot of people think, oh, the evil stepsisters are Weiss and Winter, or they're Ruby and Yang, depending on which theory you believe about Cinder's parentage, right? But while I was looking at it, I was like, well, why can't they be Neo and Emerald? Because I feel like that they're, okay, so in Cinderella, especially the Disney version particularly, you have Anastasia and you have Drizella, and Drizella is the one that agrees more, with the mom, while Anastasia is a bit more, partial, to Cinderella, if that makes sense. Anastasia's, the nice one, if you want to call it that, and in Cinderella 2, and then the following movies, Cinderella helps Anastasia, find love and stuff. It's, a whole thing. The second Cinderella movie, right? She falls in love with the baker, and the stepmother doesn't approve, but Cinderella, defends her and stuff. It's, a whole thing, right? So when you think about it like that, in some fairy tales, the stepsisters aren't just, horrifically evil, right? They also have been manipulated by stepmother, and one of them is a little more friendly, right? So I feel like that, in terms of that sort of whole thing, when you think about it, Emerald is sort of the Anastasia. She's the one that's more partial to, defending Cinder. Whereas Neo, I feel like at the first, convenient moment, is gonna sell Cinder out to Salem and have no problem with doing that, right? Because in this episode, we have, we'll only be gone for 5 minutes. They won't even notice. And I think it would be so funny. I talked about this on Twitter. It would be funny if two things. Neo stays behind, and she mimics herself to look like Cinder, so that she's just sitting on the whale, and Salem looks over and she's like, ah, Cinder's still here. She's just giving me the silent treatment, and then she walks away, right? Or Neo magics an object, because we know that she can change the outside of the Mistral airship to an Atlas one. So I just imagine Neo has 3 giant sticks, and she just makes the sticks into Emerald, Neo, and
she
Cinder,
has
right?
Roman's hat. I wonder if she turns Roman's cane into it.
Yeah, just puts a bunch of stuff in the ground, and then it looks like Cinder, Emerald, and Neo are just there watching the sunset, and Salem looks, and she's like, okay, well, they're still here, nothing to worry about, right? I doubt it, though, and here's the thing. What Cinder doesn't seem to realize is that her Grimarm is like the fucking, house alarm going off as you're trying to sneak out the window. I don't know why she thinks that, oh, Salem's not gonna notice we're gone, when literally the Grimarm attached to her is a walking, talking GPS, well, not talking, but a...
Not yet! Cinder, you shouldn't be doing that! It talks!
A GPS, you understand?
Grimmy, I didn't know that! Oh no!
Right? And
she's gonna be real upset with you!
I feel like that is the territory that we're getting in, is that the Grimarm is a location beacon, and Salem is definitely not going to be fooled by even Neo's illusions, even if Neo does do it, right?
Yes.
And the thing about this is that Neo seems hesitant, so I think it would be funny if Neo didn't go, and she just turned herself into Cinder, and she just sat there and waited for them to come back, and it was just Cinder and Emerald, right? I think that would be funny, but it seems like all 3 of them are going to Amity Coliseum, so I do want to talk about that a little bit.
But before we get into that, this is also kind of my feelings towards Salem's motivations.
Yeah.
I think that what Salem wants from Cinder is not to, no longer go out into the field.
Yeah.
She no longer feels well, humans are good at that.
Yeah.
She likes her new, walking, talking Grim baby.
Yeah.
Or, her big secret, we don't know what's under that ice Grim monster, her big whale, that is also, an apartment
She seems
block.
very partial to her grid this season.
Now, I think because maybe that's because they, like, you know, they failed so many times previously.
Yeah.
Hazel failed to an extent, Tyrion failed to an extent, and
yeah,
Cinder
Tyrion
failed.
and Watts have done better recently, but I do understand what you're saying, that she has lost faith in her human companions, like a little bit. She's still sending them out to do stuff.
Yeah, what I think she wants Cinder to do is stay put until she can figure out where the Veil relic is.
Yeah.
They can go there, she can open it up, and that's when she'll be done with Cinder.
Exactly.
And Cinder doesn't want that.
That's where Cinder's usefulness basically runs out, right? As soon as she unlocks the relic for Salem, Salem can either take the powers for herself, if that's even possible. And I do think it's possible, right? Because obviously the maiden powers were given by Ozpin, but ultimately the magic that the maidens have is the same magic that Salem had. Like, it's all the same magic. So I do wonder if she could just suck it up and sort of break the maiden's curse, if that makes sense, and stop the power from transferring if she sucks it up herself.
On the topic of that, I also noticed that in the scene you see that she spins the, like, vague, like, clouds of her three daughters. So,
or her four.
Or, sorry, 4 daughters. So 4 children, they're all daughters.
Yes.
Maybe she wants to bring them back. Maybe she wants to make, like, grim bodies and she used the staff of bring people back to creation, bring people back to life. I imagine something like that might happen, and maybe those are the 4 people whom she wants the maiden powers to go to, so that she can have, like, her, you talked about that previously, the idea that she wants to become the dark overlord and she wants her magic offspring to, like, control the world. Maybe that will be how she does it.
Because, okay, so we've talked about the Staff of Creation a little bit. So the thing about the Staff of Creation is that we don't know if it could revive people, right?
It might end up being like a Full Metal Alchemist monkey's paw.
We've talked about this multiple times. It's on our bingo card that they would come back, but sort of as like weird, malformed monster type situations, that they wouldn't necessarily be perfectly revived. And the other thing is that Salem doesn't necessarily need to revive her daughters. She can just make a human husk that looks like them. And making humans is still creation, but is yet not reviving. You know what I mean?
Which
and so
is why
I can
they
see
made
that
it a little
happening,
spooky.
right? Is that she instead creates 4 human, sort of human, like 4 human vessels with the Staff of Creation, and that they cannot be destroyed, because I'm pretty sure the Staff of Creation, like, as long as it's going, as long as you've picked, like, the one thing you want to do, I'm pretty sure that it will stay up. Like, I don't think that Atlas could fall out of the sky just by Salem attacking it. She would have to remove the relic. I think that that's how it works, because the staff basically, like, gives it, like, some sort of immunity, we would sort of think, depending on what the object is, right? So I could see that she wants to make, like, sort of husks of her 4 daughters and just put the maiden powers, because her daughters had magic, right? So put the maiden powers, like, back into her daughters. So I think that Cinder is definitely outliving her usefulness, basically. Well, I don't think that Cinder's aware, to be honest.
I think she's becoming aware slowly. Like, slowly she's realizing, like, oh, she just wants me to sit in here. She's limiting my usefulness. I thought I would be the right hand. I'm not. I'm just a pawn.
Maybe. I feel like right now, she's I don't think that Cinder has realized it fully yet. I don't think that Cinder has realized that she is only being kept around to open up the Veil Vault, and after that, she will be discarded, right? She just wants the Winter Maiden powers because that's what Salem promised her. But the reason why Salem is keeping her home is because I don't think that Salem wants Cinder to have any more powers. I think that Salem actually would prefer something like Penny, where she could just transfer all the maiden powers into Penny, and then Watts could just control Penny, right? And so I feel like that Cinder is not entirely aware, but she's getting there, and her motivations point to that plot point being, at least in that ballpark, in that direction, right? But I think that she's just going after it because she's just like, well, I don't want to sit at home. She won't even notice we're gone. Like, it hasn't fully clicked for her why Salem wants to keep her home, right? She just thinks that Salem wants to keep her home, like, for her grand plan. But I don't even think that they really know that she is going to ask about the Veil relic and any of that stuff. Like, I don't think that they know about that. The only person that knows about that is Oscar and Hazel, if Hazel's listening outside the door to what they're doing. But Cinder, I don't think, knows that that's what Salem's trying to achieve now, or she would maybe realize that, right?
And I also think that this could potentially lead, I don't want to use the word redemption, Because I know you don't agree with the Cinder redemption train.
I don't.
That is a chugga-chugga-chuggin'. But I believe, not redemption so much realization.
Sure.
I imagine it'll be sort of, there'll be stages of it. There'll be grief when she realized Salem no longer wants me, she no longer loves me, it was never purposeful. What purpose do I have in my life? Oh, helping people. Right? And
helping people!
Maybe! I don't know. I think they would need to, it would literally need to start now and for the rest of RWBY work on that. But I think that they could do it.
I think that you guys are way too optimistic
that potentially,
about this.
Listen, I love her. I almost get how people react of like when Adam died. Because people were really attached to Adam.
There's no reason to love him either.
And people, well, that's how I felt about Adam. It's just like, oh, I thought he would be a bigger thing. I kind of want Cinder to be a really big thing.
But a big thing doesn't necessarily need to be a good thing.
Listen, I don't expect Jean or RWBY to forgive her.
Sure.
Necessarily.
Like, okay.
I wanted to maybe, because wouldn't that be interesting to have a redemption storyline that's like a lonely redemption?
Neo can have that. Why does Cinder
listen, I know Emerald is gonna like, what if that's gonna be the thing?
Could be the
like, what if that's her, okay, Emerald's gonna get redeemed, and I think she'll get redeemed a lot more like Zuko-y, where everyone's like, yeah, we're all pro-you now. But I think that with Cinder, maybe it'll be like she's redeemed, but she understands that she will never be redeemed, or she tries to do good.
Here's how I see this.
But she will never, okay, my one last thing is that she will never be like fully accepted by like RWBY and Jean and the rest of them because of what she did to Pyrrha and what she did just generally speaking. And so I think she tries to go out into like, maybe after Salem is defeated, she like, maybe I'll colonize the Dragon Isle, and maybe Emerald and Neo go with her, and they love each other.
I don't know what Hunter's talking
I'm
about.
sorry.
Hunter's writing a fucking fan fiction, okay?
Maybe I am.
It's supposed to be theory, right? So here's the thing about this.
I'm just saying, that's where it could go in my fan fiction brain, but this could be the start.
Cinder is Azula, okay?
Oh, okay?
Neo and Emerald are May and Tylee, okay? May and Tylee eventually turn over, but Azula doesn't. And so I think that the closest we are getting to any sort of redemption arc is Cinder going after Salem, but not because Team RWBY wants her to. You understand? Yeah. Like, not with Team... It's like that theory that we had about Neo working with Team RWBY to kill Cinder. It's not like they're like, Neapolitan, right? They're not all buddy-buddy. They're just going together because it's the most convenient thing to do and they have the same goal. Mm-hmm. It may be that Cinder is like, I want to steal immortality from Salem. Because we had that theory, remember? We had this theory that Cinder would sort of do the exact same thing that Salem did to the gods, but try to do it on Salem, right? That she realizes that the most powerful person on the planet will never be her. It will always be Salem. And like, the only way to be the most powerful person in all of Remnant is to take Salem down. That's the closest I can see to Cinder changing sides if she's like, okay, we're all gonna work together to destroy Salem, but we're still not friends, RWBY, right? That's the only other thing that I can sort of imagine in my head.
That's kind of how I imagine it.
Tries to go after Salem, but she's still not aligned with Team RWBY. And she's just like, after we kill Salem, I'm kicking all of your asses, right?
Okay,
and so maybe they need Cinder for some reason, and so they can't, you know what I mean? Because then why not Team RWBY just kill Cinder if Cinder's gonna kill him at the very end? You understand what I'm saying? And so there could be a reason why they need Cinder, and we've talked about that before, that there could be some sort of purpose,
but like,
right?
what if she becomes very important to like the very last scene when they have to open the Veil Vault and like she's on their side? I don't know. Listen, I think I trust the RWBY writers who have probably thought about this a lot more than I have to potentially do something, continue to do something with interesting.
It is going to be interesting.
And they've always done interesting stuff with Cinder.
I just don't know why everyone's so obsessed with Cinder turning good. When Cinder doesn't need to be good. Redeemed. Cinder can just be a third party, sort of like Raven. Like, Raven's a bad person, but she's still against Salem, right?
Right,
you know what I mean?
And
so
that's
Cinder
kind
can
of
still
how
be
I
a bad guy.
But Raven's also somewhat sympathetic. You agree? So that's how I imagine Cinder, as sympathetic,
why does someone
but not...
need redemption to be sympathetic,
Well, because I didn't say redemption. I said redemption arc, but not redemption in a Zuko way. Redemption in a way that she's sympathetic, but you understand that she will never be redeemed in the eyes of the other characters.
She'll be sympathetic because of her backstory.
Yes, and the fact that she tries to turn it around.
I feel like that her personality as a whole, though, like, I feel like it would be very much, we're going to kill Salem together, but after that, like, we're gonna have a fight, and Team RWBY's just like, well, okay, we need her, so we really don't
I don't think a fight. I think it'll be like, and then I will just go off and you'll never have to see me again.
But they can't just let her go, though, Hunter, because she's a bad guy. So if she does bad things somewhere... Well,
that's what they did with Raven, basically.
No, but Raven doesn't go do bad things. I mean, like, Raven she does bad things, but she doesn't do bad things, right? Cinder having the maiden powers, and, like, you know what I mean? They can't just let Cinder go off into the world. She'll kill people or something.
Maybe she gives the maiden powers to I don't listen.
I feel like that the maiden powers would have to be transferred out of her, and then she can go.
Maybe. But, like, if Ozpin disappears, what if the maiden powers do as well?
Maybe.
Because, like, if he dies...
And then Cinder realizes she's nothing again.
And then she's just like, I'll just go and wander the wilderness. You know? I think that this could be the start of potentially that.
But yeah, I stand by what I already said.
And I agree with a lot of that.
Cinder's going to be mostly evil. She's just going to oppose Salem. And she'll still oppose Team RWBY while opposing Salem, but it'll be like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I just don't see... I feel like Emerald and Neo, like, could be, like, a quote-unquote
I think Emerald, you're right with that as well. I think they'll be a lot.
The other thing about Neo is everyone's like, Neo's a murderous psychopath. And, like, I get that perspective just based on her fight with Yang. A lot of people think that. But they've clearly given her some more character depth by now, that she was just sort of going along with Roman because she liked him, and, like, I don't know, like, maybe Neo will start a fucking bookstore. Like, I feel like that she's not power hungry like Cinder is, where she wants to, like, rule over something, but I feel like Cinder may always be a little power hungry, you know? And so I feel like with Neo, at this point, it's just getting revenge on Roman, but after that, she wouldn't be enough of a threat that Team RWBY would feel like they have to arrest her or put her in jail or something, because she technically, like, Neo technically hasn't done anything, except for participating in the Veil robberies, but at that point...
And
that
also, like, hijacking an Atlas...
Airship. Which Team RWBY also did, right?
Fair enough, I guess.
You know what I mean?
When you put it like that, what a coinky did.
And so, when you think about it, right, like, Neo and Emerald situation... Emerald was a fucking terrorist, okay? So I don't know how they're gonna resolve that.
Yeah, but she was, like, a morally ambivalent... Listen, you know...
But you understand what I mean? Like, no, the prosecutors in Veil, I doubt are gonna go after Neo at this point. That's basically what I mean. And so I feel like that... like, Emerald and Neo have a really good setup for, like, ditching Salem and being redeemed.
And we felt, especially, like, with Emerald for a very long time, that was going to be the case. With you know, Cinder, you're right.
Cinder, Hunter's living in the clouds a little bit. Oh, yeah, I guess we didn't talk about this, but in terms of them visiting Amity Coliseum, like, what about that? Because we sort of have two theories that, one, Cinder is going to get there, and Penny's not going to be there because she has already been hacked by Ironwood, and Ironwood has already, like, called her back, basically, and, like, Cinder just, like, murders Pietro.
So if Cinder murders Pietro, I will redact literally everything I just said.
Or... Cinder, Emerald, and Neo have a fight against Penny, who is, like, hasn't been hacked yet, or something, or has been hacked by Ironwood, but Ironwood is fighting through Penny like a fucking video game. I feel like either of those ideas would sort of be interesting, because on one hand, you have that sort of thing like Penny got hacked and she wasn't able to defend Maria and Pietro, because maybe Cinder wouldn't kill them. Maybe she would just kidnap them and bring them to Salem and be like, hey, here you go. Why not, right? Like, that could happen. Or
just like a cat bringing a dead mouse for its master. Like, you wanted that, right?
And so, oh my god, what if how Salem finds out that Cinder, like, left and disobeyed her was that Pietro and Maria set up the CCT, and Cinder's just like, hello, people of Remnant, how y'all doing tonight? Remember me from the Vital Festival? Remember all these guardians that are nothing more than men? Well, let me tell you what's going on in Atlas. Like, and Cinder will just do the worldwide continent announcement, and Salem will be like, what the fuck? Right? And then obviously by that point, Penny would be hacked or whatever, right? Like, I feel like that, because Pietro, like, Amity's ready to go into the sky, right? So if, you know, imagine it starts going up in the sky, Pietro and Maria are there, they're like, oh, we don't know where Penny is, or maybe Penny's with them, whatever. It starts floating, we're floating upwards, like Neo, Emerald, and Cinder are camouflaged, it goes up into the sky, Pietro starts the announcement, Cinder's just like, what? And then gets in the way, and she does the announcement, or there's a fight, depending on, like, what's going on with
We also
Penny,
talked a lot about Amity Tower falling.
Yeah.
I think, but when you think about it, nobody's in Mantle right now, so if it did fall and then the main cast would die. I also think we talked about, like, if the Cinder and Neo fight happens there, maybe they could destroy Amity.
Amity's also, like, though, like, far away, so I don't think it would actually hurt anyone.
But, like, it could, like, lilt and fall.
Imagine Amity falls into the ice that is already cracking.
Oh,
like, Amity just, like, and then it, like, breaks the ice even more, and all these Grim just, all the sulfurfish Grim just go,
that's the noise they make too. They go wee!
And then they just fling out and they're all over the ice. They're just all over the ground. And
as if this volume wasn't chaotic enough already. We need wee!
So yeah, so that's the other thing is like, do you think Penny? I don't know. It's so hard because I'm like, on one hand, Penny could already be hacked. On the other hand, she could be there and we could get a cool fight. But haven't we gotten enough fights with Penny? Like, I feel like it would be more effective if she never made it because Ironwood already hacked her. Pietro and Maria's like, well, like, Penny will come here eventually. We should get this thing up in the sky, like, while we wait for her, right? Or whatever.
I'm Pietro. I sound like a mix between Mickey Mouse and Jiminy Cricket.
But you know what I mean? Like, Pietro, like, lifts it up in the sky, like, oh, Penny has rockets, like, she'll be up here eventually, but we should raise it into the sky right now so we can get the signal going or whatever. Then Cinder, Neo, and Emerald walk in and they're like, hello, gold people. Like, fuck y'all. And then, like, they just, you know, do the thing. Because I would like that better. I would like, you know what would be cool? If Pietro and Maria, they're waiting and they're like, Penny? And then it's just Cinder, Emerald, and Neo, and they're just like, it's not your toy, old man, and they just whack.
Oh, that's
and they
not
just
a good
get him.
thing. I think we can agree that it's so chaotic right now, we really don't know what's going to happen.
Because it could go either way, right? So I'm just trying to think of, like, both avenues and both routes and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's basically it from us. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and we will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.
Whee!
You know what I mean.
No, it was great. I like that. No, that was excellent.